We're here at the Green Wine Summit in Santa Rosa, California. And with me today I have Dennis Kirwin, and he is from Geodynamics. And they do some really great work as far as site development in the wine industry. And that includes vineyards, wineries, ranch estates. But they also do a lot of creek bed restoration, river restoration. And so that's really kind of what we wanted to talk about, obviously being here at the Green Wine Summit, is talk to Dennis about some of the things that you've done and some of the innovations that Geodynamics has done in those types of projects for the wine industry. So, Dennis, maybe tell us like one of your favorite restoration projects that you've done as far as vineyards are concerned and river or creek bed restoration.
Yeah, the vineyard development work that we do, a lot of it is steep and oftentimes on unstable ground. So as far as a favorite project, I would say that I have lots of favorite projects. The ones that are most difficult and untypical are the ones that we obviously enjoy the most. It's always for us the stuff that's more challenging, the more difficult, is the stuff that we enjoy doing the most, and that's the stuff where we kind of set ourselves apart from a lot of the other folks that are out in the business of doing what we do. The vineyard development stuff, for us, it's about looking at the big picture, planning ahead. We work with the soil science folks, we work with the vineyard manager, and we'll actually put together a comprehensive program on making sure that all the drainage and the infrastructure is going to be congruent with the farming side, to make sure that whoever's going to own and operate that vineyard is going to be able to have it perform the way they would expect it to perform. So therefore we will make sure that everything that we do as far as the drainage and the soil prep, whether it's moving material around to get contour grading done or providing infrastructure as far as subdrains and surface drainage and all that, to make sure that when they come through later to do replant work and so forth, that it's going to be easy for them to do that in the future without having to disturb what we've already done. So we kind of like think way ahead, figure out exactly, in 15 or 20 or 30 years when they go to replant, we want to make sure that everything that we've got designed into that project is going to be suitable for them if they want to adjust it or re-rip again or do whatever without having to tear everything out and start over again. And as far as the creek restoration work, that stuff is work that we oftentimes work with the civil engineer and all the various agencies. Typically on our creek work there's about 7 agencies involved, and so we will actually be the hub or the center person on those projects. And for us the tough projects are the ones that have no access. You got to de-water hundreds of feet of blue line stream in order to construct them, and once again the more difficult it is, the more we like to sink our teeth into them and do them. And a lot of the projects we get because nobody else will even attempt them, and a lot of times you got structures involved that are going to be in the creek or in the river at some point. A lot of our projects are on the Russian River. They're on the Mark West or Spring Creek or Matanzas Creek or whatever, and there's structures in danger, and a lot of times the agencies will even refer us to do that work because they know that we can do it safely and we can do it being environmentally conscious without having issues that's going to end up biting them. So we get a lot of referrals from the agencies themselves, actually.
Right. So when you're talking about like the fish and game and issues like that, when you have to, you've got to basically empty a portion of a creek.
Yes.
You guys then go in there and also basically get all the fish out.
Yeah.
So you have a process of doing that.
Yeah, we've got a really unique, creative way of dewatering the stream bed systematically relocating the fish and the habitat that's there, or the wildlife basically, which most of the time it's the fish and eels are the two things that we move. And then we do that systematically, e-fishing the thing at the same time as we're drawing the water down, and we're bypassing the creeks. So when we go in and do the work, we're actually working in a dry environment, and there's never any discharge downstream as far as sediment. And so we'll work hand in hand with the agencies oftentimes to do that work.
Right. That's great. So, yeah, I mean, it must be a big challenge. You get in there, you've got these washouts, you've got erosion, you've got to control the erosion, the sediment that gets into the creeks and the rivers, because that's what it kills the fish. Am I right?
Yes,
yeah.
And zero downstream discharge is the way that we operate.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there's never ever any discharge downstream. So anybody that's immediately downstream of our project will never know that we've changed anything for that section of creek or river upstream of them. So, and hence the reason why the agencies really like working with us and refer work to us,
right,
is because we're so sanitary about the way we get in and surgically do our work and then get out and then let the streams run again without having to have a lot of impact. And some of the agencies have actually adopted our methods, and they've requested me to actually, put it in dewatering for dummies form, basically, to be able to to do that work and make it such that other people that are trying to achieve that kind of stuff can do it similar to do. Because we have no equipment in the dewatering whatsoever. Everything is done with absolute minimal impact to the stream bottom when we go to set our dewatering up. And so anyways, even Fish and Game and Regional Water Quality and the RCD and so forth, they have us do their work for them because they know that we can get in and we're not going to create any whiplash for them with neighbors or other agencies for that reason.
Well, let's wrap up real quick and talk about one of the things that Geodynamics did was really go in and look at your equipment and your machinery. Mm-hmm. So you've actually gone in and been retrofitting your equipment for, I guess, new EPA regulations, at least in California, that are coming up in, I think, 2011.
Yeah, actually, some of the stuff is actually going to come into compliance if the Fed basically signs off on the state mandates. In March of 2009 is when they're going to start the implementation of these practices. And we've actually, for the last 3 years, we've been changing our equipment management practices from a business standpoint to make sure that we're way ahead of what we potentially will have to do. And we've done 5 power plant retrofits to date. We do it in our own shop. We've got an absolutely fabulous group of guys in our shop, and we're basically repowering our machines to stay ahead of that curve. And then we've been selling off stuff every fall and replacing it with Tier 3 compliant stuff in the spring of the following year, and we've been doing that for 3 years.
That's great. Well, Dennis, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us.
Yeah.
Here's to Geodynamics and all the great work you guys are doing, and cheers to the Green Wine Summit.
Yes, thank you very much. Glad to be here.